Last time out in the Youth Academy Challenge save, we had just beaten Wiltshire Hove by 3-0 in an attempt to try and make sure we're the best team in the country once again. We're looking for title win number 10, and we're hoping to get to the round of 16 for the Champions League for only the second time in the entire save. The first game we had back after the international break was against Graphics. We beat them by 3-0. Very comfortable game, even if they had plenty of shots on goal, and perhaps could have done more damage than they actually did in the end. But what can you do? We then hosted Braga in the Champions League and very much got lucky with the fact that they were so poor, and we had pretty much the entirety of the shots on goal, and the fact it took us until the 87th minute to get a winner with a substitute coming on from the bench to do it is annoying, but we got the win, so it could have been worse. We then took a swat to Warcraft and beat them by 2-0 despite missing a penalty in the 9th minute. We're definitely not terrible, and we deserve to win this game 100%. We then took on Brookbeck and beat them 3-0. They were down to 10 minutes of the first half, so if we didn't take advantage of that, then I would have been very disappointed. Our second game of the Champions League came around and we beat the Swedish team YAC by 4-0. Very comfortable performance, and one that tells me we are going to be good against some of the weaker teams. But we've just had our two easiest games of the competition, so should I be concerned for the future? We then took on Wisla Krakow and won again. We missed a penalty, but we didn't matter because we still got all 3 points. And given we barely lose in the first place, this is a very good performance to say the least. We then took on GIS Katowice and were beaten. For the first time in 50 plus games, we lost a league game, and it was out of the blue. We may also be struggling a little bit with injured at this point. 2 players going off injured was not ideal, especially when one of them was our backup right back, because our other right back was injured. At one point, we were down to 9 players injured, and I've never had such a serious injury crisis as this, so hopefully this is just a one-off thing. We then took on Monaco and lost 2-0. They scored twice from corners, and we just couldn't deal with them set-piece-wise. It was very disappointing to say the least. Yes, we had 2 shots on target but none off target, so we had plenty of shots that were blocked, which again, it's not ideal to say the least. We then took on Olympia Gudons in the Puchapalski second round and beat them 4-0 with a very rotated side because I needed to rotate a lot. Yes, some of the players are playing are still in the first team, but the fact I was able to get this guy to score twice, despite the fact he's not very good, is a promising sign and tells me that we have a lot of strength and depth. He's a second tier player, yes, but the team we took on was not a second tier team, so happy days. We then took on LK's Lutz and beat them by 2-0. Kimmich was a striker in this game because he could play there, and we had a lot of injury concerns, so that's a thing that happened, and we won 2-0 anyway. He got a brace, so another really good performance as far as we're concerned. We then hosted Dortmund and lost by 1-0. Were we unlucky with the fact that the only goal of the game came in the first highlight and the first minute of the game? Perhaps, but it didn't change the fact we didn't do enough to win, and we deserved to lose. We then took a Puskania and beat them by 2-0, a comfortable win, even if again we had to rotate because of injuries, concerns, and we've really struggled with injuries this year, and it's unusual for us to be this bad with injuries, but we still won either way, and we're looking good. We then went to Kofice and beat them by 0-0, winning inside the first 5 minutes of the match, and they had no shots on target, so by that point, we were comfortable and we are looking good. Perhaps the scoreline should have been better, but we won either way. That's all I care about at this point in time. We then went to Inter Milan and lost by 2-0. They just absolutely obliterated us in the first 30 minutes, and by the time I figured out what they were doing, it was already too little too late. We didn't do anything to really make them worried, and it was just a comfortable win for Inter Milan. We then took up Pogoń and beat them 2-0 in the league. A good result against a team that is one of the best teams that we can think about at this point in time. Yes, they've been relegated in the save, but they are still one of the teams that are trying to get into Europe every year, and they're a pain in my side. They were once again a pain in my side in the second game we had against them in a row at their ground. This time in the Puchapalski, we beat them by 0-0, and things are looking better. So 2 wins in the balance against the same team. That's not often we can say that. Robert Kowalski came from the bench as well. He wasn't very good, but he played. And as far as I'm concerned, seeing an old friend is always good. Even if he's not very good for our point of view now, and moving him on was the best thing we could have done for his career, even if this year is probably his last year of his current contract and he might get released. We then took on Nisa and held to a draw. This was not ideal, and I genuinely don't know how we didn't do worse potentially, because they actually had a better XG and we just didn't do a lot to save ourselves the humiliation of potentially dropping points here. Their goal at the end was really good, and if we just done better defensively, we'd be fine, but we didn't, and they absolutely deserved their goal, and full credit to them. They took a point from us. I'm just frustrated with the fact it's happened. The Hague was our last Champions League game that we've had before we mess up, and we beat them by a goal to nil, but perhaps should have scored a second goal. And then we're down to 10 men inside 48 minutes, and not ideal to say the least. I do have a formation that we can go to, but for some reason I didn't go for it. Not sure why I didn't, but it's happened now. We won the game though, and we deserved to win anyway, so perhaps we're lucky, perhaps we weren't. But we won. That's what I care about. We then took on Lech Poznan and bullied them. Despite only scoring one goal, we bullied them to the point they didn't have a single shot on goal, despite the fact they had the most possession in the game. Unusual for us to give up that much possession, but we beat them with a pretty much rotated side, and we didn't let them have a single shot on goal. That is perhaps the best performance we've ever had against Lech Poznan in that regard, and we're very happy with how this has gone. The last game we had before we met up was this 3-0 victory against Cracovia, and Cracovia are quite good this year. As we look to win our 10th league title in a row and 12th of the save, Cracovia have been the biggest problem of the save. Not that we've noticed it, because we've beaten them twice in both league matches so far, but we are really good against them. Everyone else seems to struggle. And when I say everyone else, I mean the fact that they have won 15 matches and drawn once. If we didn't draw as many games as we have, and we didn't lose that game we shouldn't have lost, we would be top of the table comfortably, but we're not. We're only ahead of goal difference, 10 points clear of third place, so a bit disappointing if I'm honest with you, but something we can work on, something we can work towards, and we need to make sure we're not going to be in a bad spot. The main question now is, can we win the league? I like to think the answer to that is yes. Whether or not we will win the league is a different story, but given we've won so many league titles in a row, we should be winning this game 100%. And in other competitions, if you ignore the Friendly Cup, we don't care about that, we're looking good. Lech Poznan we have in the Pucharpalski, we just absolutely bullied them the last game, so we should be good there. We won the Super Pucharpalski, but we're in the Champions League with just 9 points. And let's just go to that, shall we? Because we're down in 18th place, ahead of Arsenal goal difference, which is weird. But we're only 2 points away from falling out of the top 3-4 positions. Dortmund, who we lost to, are in that position. So, yay. Anderlecht having a storming season, and they've beaten Man City and Marseille. So, that's a shocker. Only thankful for taking a point off them this year, and that says a lot. But Anderlecht really good. Who would have seen that one coming? I didn't. But yeah, we got 2 difficult games to finish off the season. In the Champions League, we got Real Sociedad, who are below us right now, but could be good. And Bayern Munich, because of course we have Bayern Munich in the next game after that. In the last game, last time we took on Bayern Munich in the last game of the Champions League, we were knocked out of this stage, if I recall correctly. Or we got them in the playoff knockout round. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that part next time, but I'd like to think we can at least get a decent draw. Though that being said, the teams in the top 16 do look dangerous, even if Hoffenheim is probably the team I'd want right now. But if we get in the top 16, then I don't think the options are much better either, so I'm either damned if I do, damned if I don't in either regard. So can we get a decent draw? I am going to look at the other competitions. Legia Warsaw are terrible in Europe this year. I was hoping they'll do well. They've not. They are down in 27th place and struggling, which is very frustrating to say the least. Górnik Zabrze finished in 15th place in the Europa Conference League, so they can at least get a decent draw. I have no idea who they're guessing right now, but I'm hoping they can get a decent team. As for the Youth Intake preview, it's not great. And I think we're starting to get to the point that we've peaked. And that's saying a lot. It's not a good sign, but hopefully we can still get some good players either way. But what I am going to do is end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys will like and share this video, and that you'll subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. But anyway, until next time, goodbye, and well, good night.